Good morning everyone. I am Aditya Subramanian and this is Nitya Shri. Today we will be talking about Monte Carlo and how we can use Monte Carlo. This is the algorithm we use. She will be explaining.
Thank you, Aditya. So, I would like to know how many of you guys know C++. Could you raise your hands? Oh, nice number. Okay, but I'm not going to go into the code line by line and tell you this is what you've done and all. Okay, the intelligent part of the code is the algorithm, right? So I'm going to tell you what the algorithm we've used. So firstly, we generate random points, my friend here told. So these smileys here are the random darts you throw. And one thing you need to note here is that the points which lay on the circumference of the circle, we've taken it to be inside the circle, right? Okay. So what we do here is to find the volume is to take the ratio of the number of points inside the circle to that of the number of darts inside the square, right? And that when we multiply to the power of 2 to the power of the dimension, we get the volume. Why? Because as my friend here told, the side of the square is 2r, the diameter of the circle, and thus we get the volume. With this is only the coefficient, this is not the r power dimension. For that, what we did was, we printed it directly for simplicity, r power and the dimension, just for simplicity's sake. And well, I'm not going to go line by line. I'm going to tell you what the functions mean and what are the two important functions. Just a couple of functions and you're done. So this is the randomized function we have here. What we do here is to generate random points with the limit of 2r. I took my r to be 10, right? So 2r to 2r, right? That's the limit. And that generates random points inside my square. It doesn't go outside the square.
All the points are considered to have only integer coefficients, like you can't have 1.2 or something as your coordinate.
So the next function we have here is the in-circle. So here we check whether the point lies inside the circle or outside the circle, that's all. So what we do for this is that we find the distance of the point from the circumference of the circle.
From the center of the circle, and then we compare that to the radius of the circle.
Yeah. So, so what I do here is to compare the radius with r square. So if that is this particular thing is correct, then my in-circle count increases by 1, and irrespective of this happening, the total count of the points, the darts, increases by 1. Over to Aditya to talk to you about the efficiency of the program.
So these two functions are repeated like over, that's what we have shown you how many times or how many random points that we have generated, and for 2 dimensions how the value of pi, how efficient it gets. So when we run 10 loops, we have only 1 digit of accuracy and so on until we run 8,951 loops. At that point we get exactly 5 digits of accuracy, that's 3.1415. After that it loses its accuracy because something known as the random error. So
so I know you guys can read up this slide. So I'm going to tell you an application which is not there on the slide. So how many of you guys play shooting games like PUBG or CS:GO? Right? Sir, you can raise your hands too, sir, if you have played a shooting game. No? Okay. So what shooting games basically uses this particular algorithm. Like if I shoot this guy, the computer tells me, sorry, but the computer tells me that I win. If I don't shoot this guy, it says I lost. That's based on this particular algorithm. Okay, so what is the benefit of this particular algorithm? Imagine doing the dart experiment manually, right? That's why you need this.
Think about how many darts you have to throw, 8,951 darts to compute pi.
Okay, the presentation is not over. We have another interesting topic. Yes?
So
right. But it's not exactly a circle. You program it in such a way that that particular shape, human body
shape is outlined, and
yeah.
if you shoot, if it falls inside, then it's counted as a shot or a kill or whatever.
Yeah. Yes?
How do you verify if this algorithm is correct? Like you have no other process for verification of 5-dimensional or 8-dimensional?
It's there on Google. You can just compare the values.
It's mathematically available. It's mathematically proven. It's mathematically
They've
proven.
mathematically derived all those values. There's another function to derive the formulae and all.
Okay, now this very interesting problem, the traveling salesman problem, 1 week before RSA started, all the mums in the WhatsApp group started complaining, it's not residential, we need to travel, right? So imagine I'm the parent, I'm my own parent, okay? And I live in West Mambalam, and I have to go pick up Shipra from KK and then I have to go and pick up Jyotika from Velachery, come to IIT Madras, go back to West Mambalam, right? This is a traveling salesman problem. This is what we faced, right?
We have to find the most optimal path to go through all the points and return back to the same original point.
And you don't want to be spending too much every day. It's for 45 days, you don't want to spend 1,000 rupees every day, right? So what you ideally do is you take your car, you don't take an Ola, which is like 400 bucks or something. You take your own car, you get your friends and you come to IIT and then go back in the same way, right? This is a Hamiltonian path. Well, before that, do you guys actually know what a Hamiltonian path is? Yeah? So can you help me by telling whether this is a Hamiltonian path and whether this is a Hamiltonian path? The first one? Yes? You guys are brilliant. The next one? So no. Because it doesn't come back to the starting point. You take one as starting point, you take two as starting point, it still doesn't come back. So it's not Hamiltonian. Okay, let's deliver some pizzas. The mainstream TSP problem is, sorry? No. Right, okay, before this I would like to say the pizza is a very mainstream TSP problem. Let's say you guys have, it's that time of the year when you have to visit your, your friends for Golu. You don't want to go to each house more than once, it will be weird, right? You have to come back to your house, finally. So let's take one of your friends live in Mylapore, one lives in Adyar. Just say one lives in somewhere else. Well, okay, fine. IIT Madras, one in T Nagar, one in Mount Road. You don't want to go back to the same house again.
And you don't want to keep traveling around the city.
Yeah, and you don't want to spend too much money, okay? So what you do, you want to find the optimal path, and that's what the TSP is all about.
Point here.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the approach? We have two parameters. One is the cost and one is the distance. You want to minimize both. Okay, so let's say I and J are points. Okay, I and J are points where you want to travel from I to J, and I take x I j as a distance from I to J, right? And then this is a minimization problem, as I told, because you want to minimize your cost as well as the distance. That's the whole point, right? So you do this operation, double sigma, and find out which is the minimal value, and you want to go with that. Next, you know that if you leave from I, you have to go to only one j. So that gives me this particular, sorry?
Point here, point there.
This particular mathematical equation, and in the same way, I don't have to leave from I to j. I can go from j to I also, right? So that gives me this, and then I go from I to j, or I don't go from I to j. So this gives me xij is equal to 0 or 1. Now something tricky is what is going to come here. There is something called the subtour. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically if you have a map and if you have like a loop inside it, you don't want to keep going in the loop again and again. Your program, it may go into the loop and say that's the most optimal path. You don't want that.
You don't want this. You have 5 points, but you don't want to have subloops inside. So this is what is called a subtour, and you have to eliminate these. So how do we eliminate these? This is how it's done. So a subtour of length 1 means that you go from j to j itself. That is, you go from Adyar to Adyar itself. Right? So that you can, I'll tell you how to minimize it. But now I'll tell you subtours of path subtours of length 2 and 3. For 2, what you do is xij traveling from one place to another, and xji will actually be 2, equal to 2, right? But I am eliminating it by saying it should be less than 1 or equal to 1. So that gives me a constraint of NC2, and similarly you can do it for subtours of path 3, length 3, and for 4 you do this until n minus 1 length subtours. And one thing you should notice here is that the NCR term, it's exponential. You can consider it to be exponential. So this shows how difficult the problem is. And how do we eliminate the first thing, the subtour of length 1? What I do is I say xjj is equal to 0, right? But instead of doing that, I say the cost from going from j to j is infinity, right? I do that because I want to say if the cost is infinity, you don't want to buy that thing, right? Exactly. So you do that for 2, as you saw in the polynomial time. Polynomial time, I mean, by saying polynomial time, I mean to say that it's solvable in a favorable time to us, right? So in 10 minutes
doesn't take like
or
age
1
of the
day.
universe to solve
Yeah.
it.
So NP problem is what is verifiable in polynomial time. That is, I can verify that there is a
Like I can find, if I have a solution, I can check whether it's a valid solution in polynomial time, but to find a solution, I can't do that in polynomial time.
So interestingly, TSP doesn't lie in NP. It lies in something called the NP hard, which is which says that I say yes, there is a Hamiltonian path, then I can find an optimal solution, in polynomial time. And NP complete is what we say is potentially unsolvable, in polynomial time. And NP complete is what we say is potentially unsolvable, right? But nothing is unsolvable. Nothing's impossible when this is possible. Sorry guys. So as you saw that picture here, nothing's impossible, okay? And my friend here is going to convince you that TSP is not an impossible problem to solve.
So I'll talk about 2 methods that people usually use to solve the TSP. So this is what is called the matrix representation of distances. So if you want to go from like 1 to 2, your cost is 10. If you go from like 4.
Yeah, so we thank our professor Vaibhav sir and our research scholar Abhinash for their constant support. We thank RSI for giving this
For giving us
opportunity.
this
Thank you.
Thank you.